the shift in my own thinking that helped me to come out of the hurt, anger, and pain.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things for me was realizing that I was a spiritual being having a human experience. And that everything that happened was happening so that I could know what I came here to know as a spiritual being, that my journey was in a sense predestined. Before I was created, before I came into this body, there were certain things that I had to go through in this life. I had to be born to addicted parents. I had to be taken away from my parents. All these things were to empower me, not to diminish my life, but to enhance it.
That sounds like something I would say. We kind of live by the same code. No, kind of. We do live by the same code. And we understand in our pain and our trauma, whatever, whenever life looks like it's beating you up, there's really an opportunity to grow and to be more light and to love through it. And it's not always easy. It can be challenging. Now, one of the tools I was trying to get you to, one, you do your the goddess photography, and the girls have a special name for these photographs. They're called
Peace pictures.
And so, what happens for them when you do these peace pictures?
Well, the most important thing in the peace pictures is to take them to a place where there's no fear and there's no worry, where there's only peace and love. And the way that I did that was through the imagination, as I asked them to imagine the most beautiful place that they can imagine in nature, and to go to that place, to see it, to close their eyes and see that place. And in that place, they can ask angels to come, and they can visualize themselves being surrounded by angels, and they can ask God to come, and they can ask Jesus to come. Whatever their spiritual orientation was, if they could have this space of divine peace and love, and to bathe in that place, to breathe in that place. And so through this process, they began to connect with that space of peace, because they were no longer thinking or worrying about anything. They were just in the presence of God, in the presence of peace and love. So my job was just to capture it when the light came through the strongest, when the energy came through the strongest in the photographs.
Okay, so you wrap them in cloth,
Mm-hmm.
and you take them to this place, and then you photograph what comes forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you've shared some stories with me of different experiences that girls have had with their picture. One in particular was a young lady going to a hospital.
Oh wow, yeah. We had a 15-year-old whose peace picture I had taken, and these pictures are 11 by 17 on a mat board, so they're really like poster-sized pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And so the girls were hanging them on their walls, and whenever they would get upset, they would go and look at the picture. So the picture became a tool. It wasn't just a beautiful picture of me wrapped in white. It became a tool, and it became a way for them to really understand that no matter what they were going through in their life, that they had the power to connect with that place of peace within themselves. Through the breathing, through the visualization, they could remember how to get back to that place of peace.
Okay.
So the pictures became a tool, but I was really surprised when one young lady, she got really sick, and I was off work. And the next day when I got to work, they said that she was in the hospital and that she had pneumonia. And so she called me from the hospital, and she said, guess what I'm doing? And I said, what? She said, I'm looking at my peace picture. And so when she said it, I was surprised, because I knew they had sent her in a cab to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And that meant she had to carry this big, huge picture through emergency to the hospital, And she said, I said, why did you do that? And she said, because I thought in some way that it would help me go. I wonder, is it still recording? It might have still been recording.
That's okay. They can edit it out.
Yeah.
So, and you thought in some way
that it would help me to heal. That looking at her spiritual picture, she felt would help her to heal.
Wow. Did it?
I think so. I think so, yeah. If she said it helped her to heal, then it did.
There you go.
I really believe that, yes.
Tell us a little bit about the garments that you designed. I happen to have the pleasure of having a Goddess original I actually have more than one, and she is creating a whole wardrobe for me. She has select clients that she does that for. And I know how I feel when I put on a goddess
Mm.
design. I feel like the highest and best and the most beautiful spiritual being that I can be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about that, and how did you get into creating these designs?
It's really interesting because these garments were inspired from a vision I had been having for years.
Mm-hmm.
From the time I would say my earliest memory of a vision probably was about 4.
Okay.
And so, because I wasn't in school yet, I wasn't in kindergarten yet. So around 4, I remember, from that time up until till probably in my 30s, I would have visions of women in these three-dimensional garments. So the visions were almost like it was like I was being transported to another dimension, and I would see these women walking toward me in the vision, and it was about 5 women, and they were walking as if they were floating, and they were wearing these hooded, three-dimensional garments, and their skin looked translucent, like they weren't solid beings,
Yeah.
and they just illuminated light.
Ethereal beings.
Yes. And they were walking, they were floating toward me. And when they would get close to me, they would just look at me. And it's like they were talking to me with their eyes. And I would just look in their eyes, and it's like they would shoot this heat through my body. And when the heat would go through my body, it just felt like an overwhelming feeling of love.
Wow.
It was just the most beautiful feeling. And I would close my eyes when this heat would go through my body. And when I opened my eyes, I would be back in the room. I would be back in my parents' living room. And so this was an experience that would happen over and over again. And I remember saying to God, I want to go home. I want to go home where the women's eyes were filled with love. And so many years I longed to be with those women. I longed for that feeling because in the world that I lived in, I had 2 parents that were in deep pain and that were drug addicted and very temperamental, depressed and temperamental. And for me, being very empathic and being sensitive, living in a world where there's a lot of sadness, was overwhelming, especially when I had something to compare it to,
Right.
which was the visions. So in my 20s, I decided, well, I can't go there, so maybe I can bring them here. Maybe those women in the vision are the true essence of who we are spiritually. And I began to believe that. I began to believe in my spirit that we are those women and that we forgot that we were women that illuminate light and that we were women that when we looked at people, that we can send with our eyes love.